Grace Hayek, and on behalf of the Glencoe Public Library, I welcome you to today's program, Dive into Databases. And now for a little background on our presenter. Rachel Murray joined the library staff last August. She works in the Adult Services Department doing reference and readers advisory, and she's awesome at it. She joined GPL after working many years at libraries in Arlington Heights and Gurnee. And now, Rachel, I will let you take it from here.
Wonderful. Thank you, Grace. Welcome to everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am thrilled to be able to tell you about the databases that the Glencoe Public Library subscribes to. These databases are fantastic because you have access to them with your Glencoe library card. Now, I do want to offer one quick caveat, and that is if you have a library card from another library, you will not be able to access the library's databases from the Glencoe Public Library website. The reason is when they price these databases, they price them so that it is based on the number of people you have living in your town. So we can only offer them to people who live within the limits of Glenview. However, all of the libraries in this area actually have a really great selection of databases, and they will have many of the same databases that we subscribe to. So if you don't have a Glencoe library card, that's okay. You don't have to. You can check with your home library. If we talk about a database today that your library does not subscribe to, it's a really great idea to let them know that you would like them to subscribe to that database. Libraries love suggestions. It's how we really know what people are looking for. So if there's something we talk about today and you find out your home library doesn't have it, let them know that you'd like to see it get added. All right, so Glencoe has quite a few different databases. We subscribe to over 60 databases, and this includes things from consumer information to information about different newspapers and periodicals. We have them all, and they're going to be available to you from the library's website. The library's website is Glencoe Public Library, and our website address is glencoelibrary.org. Now, I have clicked on the resources tab here and gone to our databases link. That gets us to the page where all of those databases that we subscribe to are available. Now, you can use any of these databases from inside the building. Even if you don't have a Glencoe library card, you can always come into the library here and use any of our databases. We'll get you on a computer. We can even help you figure out how to use them properly. Now, the rest of the databases, though, there are only 2 of those 60 plus databases that you cannot access from home. That is Ancestry.com. Ancestry is genealogy information. It's a huge genealogy database. They do not sell remote access subscriptions to libraries anymore. They did at one point, but not anymore. And the other one is JSTOR. JSTOR is a very, very large academic database with journal articles and peer-reviewed publications. Many of the individual publications covered in JSTOR do not allow us to share them outside of the building to a group of people, so you can come in to use JSTOR. You can also always call us or email us, and we're happy to use any of these resources to find information for you and send it to you. All right, so we are on our databases page here. Just wanted to let you see what this list looks like. We're going to go in and see this alphabetical list of all of our databases. It's a lot. There's a ton of information available here. Now, why would a database be a valuable thing to have? Why would you actually want to come and use a database as opposed to using something like Google? Well, databases contain information that is copyrighted and proprietary. That means it's information that is owned by somebody else that you cannot freely find on the internet. Much of this information is going to be something that is stored behind a firewall. A firewall are those little windows that pop up when you click on an article and it says subscribe to be able to read this article. These databases get you around those firewalls and let you see information that you cannot just get on Google and find. This is information that you will not find with a search engine on the regular internet. You will find it here through the library, through each of these different sources. All right, so we are going to go over 9 different databases tonight, and we're going to cover them in depth. Now, obviously, there's over 60 databases, so we can't talk about all of them today, but please take some time after this class and go through and look at the other ones we have available. There's a ton of very useful information there, and it will really benefit you to look through them. All right, the first one we're going to look at is called A to Z databases. All right, A to Z databases is actually a wonderful, wonderful database that lets us search for business listings, residential listings. It also lets us look for job information. It pulls from major job listing sites like Monster and puts them all in one place. And it also allows us to search for a particular type of company or a particular group of people and be able to save that information for marketing reports, to be able to find out a great place to start a new business. It's super, super useful. So you'll see on the first page here, we've got a section for find a business or executive, find a job or career resources, and then find a person or search by phone. Below each of these, there's a little advanced search button, so you can go in and find even more parameters to search by. But I wanted to show you, you can do a reverse phone lookup using A to Z by just going in and typing in a phone number. I'm going to type in the library's phone number. All right, there we are. Here is the Glencoe Public Library. I have our address and our phone number. I'm able to click on the link for the company, and it's going to give us a fantastic overview of that organization. So you can see our wonderful director, Andy Kim, is listed there. You can see what SIC codes and NAICS codes that we operate under, which is libraries and nonprofits. You will find nonprofit listings within this database. But you're able to go through and see all of this information, and you can actually save it and come back to it. So that is just from doing a reverse phone search. Let me go back and show you what else we can do with this. There's actually a really cool tool that you can use in here to draw a geographic area on a map and search within that area for a particular kind of business or for residents. To do that, I'm going to go to this advanced search button here at the bottom. And this gives me all of the parameters that I can search by. I can choose geographic limiters. You'll see our map-based searches right down here. We're going to do that in just a second. We can do a radius search around a particular address or zip code. We can exclude particular areas. If we wanted to search for things, say, in Cook County, but wanted to leave out Chicago, we could do that. So we would only be looking at the collar counties for Cook County. We can look for a keyword by business type. Again, we can search by SIC or NAICS codes. We can look by name, both for the business and for any executives. You can limit by business size. You can search by phone number exchange. You can even find things like if they are women-owned, minority-owned, or veteran-owned. So there's a lot of really great ways that you can search for information within A to Z. I want to demonstrate for you what the map-based search looks like. When we click that link, it opens up a map for us, and now we can zoom in and define an area that we want to search. I'm going to zoom right in here and keep refining until I can see our immediate area here in Glencoe. You can also type in a specific zip code. I like showing people how easy it is to zoom in, though. It really is a pretty easy map to navigate. So here's Glencoe. I want to make sure that I'm looking at it at the street level, though. So I'm going to continue to zoom in until I can see specific streets and locations within the town. So here we are. The library's right here. We're by Park Avenue. We've got, was that Greenwood Avenue, Hazel Avenue, and Green Bay Road. So we want to search that little 2-block area and see which businesses pop up there. So to do that, I am going to click the button at the top here that says Draw Shape. As soon as I do that, I get a little plus mark. That tells me I can start drawing a box around the area that I want to search. I could do a triangle too if I wanted to do it that way. So I'm going to start with my first point by clicking. You can see I'm just drawing a box around the area that I want to search. Okay, so once I've done my search, now it's defined that area. I am going to go to the update count button here in the upper right-hand corner and click. And it tells me that we found 101 different company listings. Now, that might sound like a lot for within that little geographic area, but you could have to remember that some businesses will have multiple businesses that are listed for a particular location. It doesn't necessarily mean that they have a storefront there that you could visit. It just means that that's the contact point for the business. All right, so now I want to be able to see more information about these 101 companies. So I'm going to close the map. And I'm going to go to the search button here. Clicking search means I want to search those 101 businesses that I just defined. Now I'm able to come through and see all of the businesses in that area. I can see things like the name that's associated with them, the address, what city and state, phone number, and so on. You'll also notice that there's this little icon here. This will let you see what the parent family is for the business. So like for Grand Food Center, if I click, it's actually going to show me who the parent company is, and it's Grand Foods that's actually in Winnetka. But if I wanted to see more information about a specific store, all I'd have to do is click the name, and it gives me detailed information about that company. Again, I'm able to see the name of the business, the key executives, what their website is, what their revenue is. If they have a credit report available, it will show you their business credit rating. It gives me what codes they operate under. So if I wanted to search for similar types of businesses in the area, I could do that by using those SIC or NAICS codes. If the company has any current job listings, it'll actually post it here too. I like to recommend this database to people before they go to a job interview. This is a really great way to go and get background information that you'd be able to use during your interview. You'll know who the main players are of the company, you'll know what business they work in, and it will just make you feel more confident when you're at your interview. So that's how A to Z databases works. Again, you can also do the same kind of search for residential listings. It will not provide unlisted numbers though. An unlisted number is unlisted and it's not going to be available through a database like this. So if you have an unlisted number and you're worried about if your information is going to be in here, they may be able to locate your name, but they're not going to get your phone number. All right, the next database I want to show you is actually called the Chicago News Collection. Now, this is a group of newspapers. It's over 256. I think just recently they added a few more papers. I think it's up to 258 now. But it is papers from the Chicago area. So you're going to be able to read papers like the Daily Herald, the Glencoe News. All of those are searchable from here. So this is a Newsbank database. Newsbank does a lot of newspaper databases. And you'll see when we scroll down here, all of those papers are listed alphabetically. So we can do a search either by clicking on a specific newspaper, like say the Arlington Heights Journal, or we can search by topic up here at the top. And this is going to search such papers as the Chicago Sun-Times and the Daily Herald, all of those at once. So it is a really great spot to come and look for local information. You can absolutely search it for national information too, because many of these papers will be covering those topics. But it is a fantastic way to come and get information about our area. Now, the one paper you're not going to see in here is the Chicago Tribune. We do have a separate Chicago Tribune database that you can search. We also have the Chicago Tribune historical database that goes back to the inception of the paper that you can search as well. But Chicago Tribune is notorious for not playing well with different database manufacturers, so they did not want to be part of this database. So unfortunately, you can only search things like the Chicago Sun-Times and the Daily Herald here, along with these other 250 or so papers, but you will be able to still get in there and see everything else. I just want to take a second and show you what a paper like the Chicago Sun-Times looks like in this database. In this one, you have the ability to look either at the text of something, or you can come in and actually see the paper if it's available. So right now I just searched for Chicago Sun-Times, so you can see I'm pulling up individual articles. that are from that paper starting from today. It's showing me the article, it's showing me how it appeared in the paper. If I click on it, it lets me see the actual text of that article. So I can read through here. It is the entire thing as it appeared in the paper. I'm going to go back a step. And this time I'm going to look for the Chicago Sun-Times as a listed paper. You can see as I'm typing, I get 4 different options to view this paper. We were just looking at the text version, which is this very first link here. We also have the full web version. That means you're going to see the entire paper as printed, including all pictures, advertisements, and anything else that's in the paper. That's available through the second link. This third one covers just blogs that are available on the paid online version of the Chicago Sun-Times. And then finally, we have the web edition articles. That's going to search just articles that appeared on the web. There are articles that didn't appear in the print paper, but will appear there. Now, if we're searching by topic up here, we are searching all of those at once. But if we want to be able to go in and see today's paper exactly as it exists, we would click on that second link, and we can choose a date to look at. I'm going to pick today's paper. I could go back and pick a different year simply by selecting a different year from the list there. But we're going to go look at March 5th. And here we are able to view the entire paper. Now, not every paper within the Chicago News collection is going to be available as a full color image like this, but you will get all of the text from all of the papers that are listed there. But this lets you go in and actually select an article, select a specific page by clicking on it along the right-hand side there. You can email these to yourself. There's a citation tool where you can cite it. You can also make clippings. It's going to allow you to draw a box around an area that you'd like to save. You can download it to your computer and you would have that as a clipping. Or you can download the entire page as well. So it really is kind of neat that you're able to come in and see the paper exactly as it appears online. You can zoom in, you can zoom out, and you really get the opportunity to read the paper as it was printed this morning. And the next database we're going to take a look at is actually 2 of them together. It's Legal Information Source and Legal Forms by Gale. Now, these are great resources for consumers because this has the kind of forms and information that you would need to help yourself with basic legal tasks. Things like selling a car, selling a bike, if you wanted to sell it outright. It is going to allow you to print out a contract or download a contract, fill it in with your information, and then print it out. You can do it either way. So we're going to go ahead and start here with Gale Legal Forms. And again, if I were doing this from home, it would prompt me to type my library card number in when I click on the link. I am here in the library, so it's not going to ask me to do that right now. All right, so here is the Gale Legal Forms library. Now you can see that there is a browse categories by alphabet. So if you were looking for things like wills, you would click on the W. Up here along the left-hand side, it shows that there's a section for legal definitions. There's a law dictionary. You can get access to tax forms. It will direct you to both the Illinois Department of Revenue and the IRS. There's an attorney directory. Now, this is based on both attorneys that submit their information to Gale and from local listings. So you'd be able to go in and find an attorney in a specific area that works with a particular topic. If you were looking for an unemployment lawyer, you would be able to come and look at the attorney directory and it would tell you what practice area someone works in. There's a law digest, which is going to explain recent decisions and cases and legislation for you. A legal Q&A, and then there's a bunch of legal life articles. Now, just below that is a topic search for the most popular topics searched for in this legal database. Now, again, this one is geared specifically toward Illinois. It's going to give you forms that are designed to accommodate Illinois law. So if we went into wills and estates, we can see here that there's 33 forms found under that topic. There's estate planning packages. There's for people living together. So if you wanted to have a will, but you're not legally married, you'd be able to do that. We can actually look at wills for people with children. Each of these are going to have a different, slightly different bit of verbiage to them so that they would be applicable to your situation. Now, if we wanted to see one, I'm going to just select this one here. It's going to take me to the link and it's going to give me a description of what the form is. I can also see a preview of the form, or it will give me a law summary. The law summary is actually going to give you reasons why you might need something like this. Now, to get the actual form, I am going to go ahead and get the Word version of this form. And you can see in the background of my screen here, it has downloaded it. I'm going to see if it lets me open it. And I want to make sure it's letting you see what I'm seeing. Let's see. All right, so this is my Word file that I just downloaded. This is an Illinois will instructions for people that are single with minor children. You can see the text is all available here. There are fill-in spots that you can go and add your own information to. You can also go back in and edit the text to adapt to your very specific needs. Now, I do always still recommend that somebody have an attorney look over these forms when you're done, but this is a great way to get those and have them available to you. It can save you some money. You're not paying somebody else to get the form and fill it out for you. And it lets you to go through and fill out all of this information so it is particular to you. You can then save this file and you would be able to print it off, email it to somebody, whichever you need to do. You can also download them as just text. So if you don't have Microsoft Word, you are able to go in and say, I only want to see the text for this. All right, so back to our website. So that's how you would get a hold of any of these different forms on here. You can actually search at the top. We went down and we were clicking on those popularly used topics. But if we wanted to just search for wills, we could say will for a single person with minor children, and it would pull this form up for us. So it's great to know that you have this available, both for people that are working on these things by themselves, or even if you are an attorney and want to have simple forms available. You can download these and fill them out however you need them to be and utilize them. All right, the next legal database we're going to look at, and make sure you're seeing what I'm seeing here, there we go, is going to be the legal information source. Now, this one kind of goes in tandem with the Gale legal forms. Legal information source has expert information written by attorneys from different practice areas from around the country. They're all books that come from the NOLO publisher. Again, that NOLO stands for no lawyer, even though they're all written by lawyers. But these are really, oops, I'm going to go back. These are all really great databases available through here. You can actually go in and open any one of these and you can look through the book and read it. So let's say you're looking to sell a house. Oh, here's a better one. Every Airbnb hosts tax guide. So if you have an Airbnb, I'm going to go ahead and click that one. It's going to load that book for us. Now we can actually go through and find the chapter we want. We can find the section we want. It's going to allow us to bookmark portions. We can actually download these sections as we need to. It's super, super useful. Now, they do also have law forms in here. Unlike the Gale Legal Forms database, this one will actually give you federal forms as well. So if you're looking for further information, you'd be able to come in and search it right here, type in a topic, and it's going to bring it up for you. We could go down toward the bottom. It's going to show us more explore topics so that we can get information on a very particular area of law. Now, we are currently in an EBSCO database. And since we're looking at an EBSCO database right now, I just want to tell you a little bit about it. There's a really cool thing that you can do with each of the EBSCO databases that we subscribe to. And we subscribe to a lot of them. But the legal information source is part of EBSCO, but they have a service that they overlay their databases, and that is called Explora. That's what we're looking at right here. And what Explora lets you do is it lets you actually search multiple different EBSCO databases at once. So I want to show you here at the top, it says searching all databases, and it says 3. It's searching all of those legal databases. If I go in and I click all databases, it's going to let me say I don't want to look for like the topic information. I don't want to look for any of that. It's going to allow me to choose the databases I actually want to work with. So it's really kind of cool that it lets you go through and say, you know, I only want to search this area of this topic. So you can go in and actually pick which of those databases you want to use. There's a couple of other EBSCO products that we'll be talking about in just a moment, and they also let you search across multiple databases at once. All right, so now on to our next one. We have the New York Times databases. Now, the Glencoe Public Library actually has 3 separate New York Times databases, and we have access to the New York Times through several other databases that kind of overlap with each other. When they sell these databases to libraries, they like to bundle them together so that you can use them additionally with each other. And the one we're going to start with here is the New York Times. Now, this is a text-based system for searching the paper. It's going to allow you to look for text-based articles that you can then email, print out, save, whatever you want to do. Let me show you what it looks like. This is a ProQuest database, and we're currently in the New York Times. This covers all the papers from 1980 to current. Now, occasionally you are going to find that there is gaps in the coverage. The reason why that is because for many years, the way newspapers kept their historical data was they were literally keeping clipping files. So some of the information might not necessarily still be readable, but for the most part, you are going to find virtually every paper in here from 1980 till today. Now, if we search for a topic, let's just do the Yankees. It's a good New York topic. All right, we type in our topic. It tells us how many results we had. Then it shows us the actual articles available. Now, I can go through and limit these. If I don't want to see just pictures or anything, I can actually say I only want full text articles. I can also go in and I can limit by time. I didn't give any time limiters when I searched originally. So if I wanted to go in, I could move this little slide here and say I only wanted to hear about things from 2010 on. So I've set that, so now I'm looking at just like the 2010s and on. I'm going to hit update, and now I'm only looking at that group of articles. Now you can see right here, we've got March 5th, so these are articles from today. I can go in and I can take a quick look at the article, and it's going to let me see just the basic information about it. I can also say see full document, and it's going to give me the entire article as a text-based article. Now, they also will give you other little topics that will appear along the right-hand side all the time. Those are going to be suggested sources. And it doesn't matter if you're in an article or you're in a search, you will see those suggested sources along the right-hand side. So here is our full text of this particular article. It has a great little tool here that lets us save the article. We can cite it. It's actually going to let us have multiple different formats to cite this source. We can send somebody the URL, we can print it, and so on. So it's giving us that entire article, and we just are able to read it right away. Now, the other New York Times databases that we have are the New York Times historical database. That works just like the one we were looking at. It's also a ProQuest database. And this is going to search, though, the New York Times from 1851 to 2021. Now, again, I'll warn you, occasionally there will be little gaps in coverage, but for the most part, you're getting the entire paper from 1851 to 2021 through this. So that gives you a really wide range of information that you can search for. It lets you search for things that happened over 100 years ago. You're able to go back and look, say, at the 1918 influenza epidemic. You'd be able to type that in. It will take you to those articles and you can see how things were being reported at that time, which I really think is kind of a cool thing to do. Even if you're just doing it kind of as a hobby to go back and see what things were like back then, you will actually find that they have things like ads from the paper back then, which can be a trip. I'll show you what those look like in just a little bit. So that's the New York Times Historical Index. Now, the third one I want to show you is the actual New York Times Online. This is free 24-hour access, and you can do it every day to the entire New York Times. You are able to come to this database, click on the link, and then there's a link right here that says Access New York Times Online. You're going to click there. It should populate with a code for you. You're going to click Redeem, and it's going to allow you to use the paper for the next 24 hours. As I said, you can do this every single day, so you'll get the daily paper and be able to read it online as though you had a private subscription. Now, I am going to tell you that when you first sign in, it does a lot of this asking you what you'd like to read. I usually just say continue with all because I don't know what I'm going to want to read when I get into the paper. It's a little bit cumbersome, but once we get through these screens, then we're able to get into the full paper. If you want to be able to have this on your phone, you can actually scan this QR code and it will let you download the app and give you access through your phone as well. All right, so let's go in and explore the Times. Here we are. Here's the masthead. We can see that this is today's cover picture. We've got all of the different information. This does update as information becomes available. So you are also getting the you're also going to be able to get things like the live versions that they're posting online that you would have to have a subscription for. All right. So this is really cool in that you actually get the entire newspaper from start to finish. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close that one. I'm getting a low system resource here, so I'm going to close a few windows just to make sure I'm not using too much. Okay. Next, since we've talked about the New York Times, we're going to talk about some other newspaper sources. We also have something called U.S. Major Dailies. And on your handout, on the very first page, you'll see that we had said that we were expecting to get U.S. Major Dailies as historical papers as well. And I'm very happy to be able to report that as of this morning, those are available for you. Now, U.S. Major Dailies is listed right here. We've got U.S. Major Dailies and U.S. Major Dailies Historical Collection. Now that means you have access to the Chicago Tribune, Los Angeles Times, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and Washington Post from 1849 to 2021 as those historical versions. Through the regular U.S. Major Dailies, you have it from the 1980s until current. Now, there might be a little bit of a difference as to when the papers start in this modern database versus the historical one. Each paper is an independent company, and they can kind of add their own information about what dates they want to make available, but you can get all of these papers at once through these databases. If I go into U.S. Major Dailies, I am now searching Chicago Tribune, Los Angeles Times, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and the Washington Post. So whatever element I type in here, let's find something. Let's do, I'm just going to do the Oklahoma City bombing. I know that's not the brightest topic, but it will give us a lot of news resources from each area. We are able to type in our search terms, and then we're able to see articles. We can see that there's already several articles with our keywords popping up right away. Now, this is not about the Oklahoma City bombing. You'll see it just has the words Oklahoma City. If I want to make sure that I have the entire phrase together, up here in the box, I would put that in quotation marks. That way it's telling the database, just look for this phrase exactly as it stands. But I'm able to go back actually and do some limiting that's going to allow me to see much more specific information. I can use that slide again And I can come back and say, I only want to see recent information that contains those terms that I entered. And you can see right here that this is from the Washington Post. This one is from the Washington Post from March 1st. To be able to see any of these, I would simply click on the title and it gives me the entire article there. Now, just like the other ProQuest databases we are looking at, the Chicago Tribune, the New York Times, they all have this same thing where you can save it as a PDF, you can cite it, you can copy the URL to share with someone else and they'll be able to get the article. You can print it. We go into the other options. You can actually go in and share it to things like Google Drive or Microsoft OneDrive. You can even export it to things like EasyBib so that you can do a bibliography. This is actually a fantastic resource for students. Adults love to be able to read the news. We like to stay on top of things, but students frequently will need sources that they can cite to say where they got their information. This is a great way to do that. The US Major Dailies allows a user to go in, search for whatever information they need, save it, cite it. It's a really quick way to get your research project done, and you can do it without ever setting foot outside. So it's something to keep in mind if you have anybody in your family that you know is going to be working on any kind of school projects, whether it's children or grandchildren, it is a fabulous resource to use. Now, I do want to show you the Major Dailies historical collection, because this is our newest one. They just added it. We also have another database that is smaller newspapers from across the country, and it works in tandem with this ProQuest database here. And that includes over 150 small town newspapers or small city newspapers. So that would include things like you'd be able to see like the Abilene News from 1940. It's fantastic if you are working on genealogies or histories. You would be able to go back and look up somebody's specific obituary. You'd be able to look up things about somebody's life. It can actually be a really great experience to go back and look for that information in those independent papers. Now, this specifically is covering those US major dailies papers. So again, that's going to be the Chicago Tribune, New York Times, Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, and Los Angeles Times. Now I'm going to type in, we were talking before about influenza. I'm going to type in influenza. And again, it's searching all of those papers. I've got hits from the New York Times. I'm going to have hits from other places. But I'm going to come in and I'm going to limit this so that I'm only looking at 1910 to 1919. Then I'm going to update it. Okay, so now I am looking at specific articles. This is all from 1919. It starts with the newest ones first. So it's starting with the 30th of December. And it gives me the entire listing of articles. You can see that there's talk about what's happening in Spain, things that are happening in Chicago. What you also get here, though, is ads from those papers. And frequently, those are the things that nobody keeps. They keep the information about the article, but then you can go back and actually look at the advertisements. And I always find this to be fascinating because you can go in and you'll see that they are advertising shoes for sale or coats for sale. You will also see all kinds of remedies for influenza. Looking for remedies for illnesses is not something new. We've been doing that forever. Here's how doctors treat colds and the flu. We can actually zoom in on that and take a look and see what exactly is going on there. I will say it's a little cumbersome sometimes to navigate through these newspapers because it is a facsimile of the paper. You are actually seeing what the actual paper looks like because again, it was created from clipping files. But here we are. This is the first step in treatment is a purgative with colatabs. Now I looked this up earlier. A colatab has mercury and chlorine in it, which to think about that you would be taking that to try to make you feel better, I would just think that it would make you feel awful. But not to mention it's dangerous. We know mercury poisoning is cumulative, so it probably wasn't the best idea. However, at the time, they didn't know that, so they were advertising these kinds of things. You can even go through and find ads for things like radium-based products, which if you read the book Radium Girls, you'll know that that's not a good thing either. All right, so that is how the ProQuest Historical Newspapers works. It lets you search across all of those papers. You are not just looking at one specific one, you're looking at all of them, which is really, really fun to be able to do. All right, I'm going to go back to our website and back to our list of databases. And I want to show you the Wall Street Journal. Just like with our New York Times subscription, we have both the text-based viewing and searching of the paper, but we also have access to the actual web version of the Wall Street Journal. So with the Wall Street Journal, when you click here, you get 3 days of access to use the paper. So you're going to click Wall Street Journal. If you were trying to get it from home, it would prompt you actually to create a Wall Street Journal account. That's going to be through the library. I'm going to go in and sign into my account. I made one earlier. And it's going to have you, it already recognizes me. I don't even have to sign it. So now I'm looking at today's full online web version of the paper. It's going to have everything from the print paper, including any updates. So things like stock ticker information, you'll be able to come here and find out exactly how something's performing right now. You could go in and view the full print edition just so you can see exactly what the static paper was that was published in the morning. You can go through all of the different sections of the paper. The whole thing is available here. And it's really, I always find that I love the online newspapers because they're so easy to search. You can go through and find exactly the articles that you're looking for very quickly. If you do like that paper version, like I said, you can take a look at that. They do have a link to it up here at the top that'll get you to the print edition. But the Wall Street Journal is available here in this web version. We also have the historical access through the major dailies for the United States. And you also have it as a plain text searchable database through all of those other resources that we were talking about earlier, things again like US Major Dailies and the historical version through the US Major Dailies historical version. All right, the last one that I want to talk to you about today is going to be the Weiss databases that we subscribe to. I'm going to go ahead and click here. And we have 2 separate databases that we subscribe to from the Weiss company. That is the Weiss Financial Ratings Series and the Weiss Ratings Medigap Report. Now, the financial ratings portion actually rates things like banks, insurance companies. It lets you find how they're performing, how reliable they are. You can read articles about them. That is available through the financial ratings section. But the one thing we have that is really cool is this Weiss Ratings Medigap Report. And this allows you to create a specific Medigap insurance report for yourself. You can go in and you would fill out your first name and last name. They want your email to send you the results, your age, your gender, and your zip code. And what it does is it goes out and searches every Medicare supplement insurance plan that is available to you. It's going to tell you what it covers, it's going to tell you how much it costs, and it's going to make suggestions for you as to which ones would probably work best for you. So this is a really, really neat tool to use. I will warn you, these plans or these reports are extremely long. We're talking over 100 pages. So you're getting a significant amount of information. Now you can download it as a PDF. You don't have to print it out. If you do need to print it, you can always come here to the library to do that. But filling this out is going to give you that entire supplementary report. And it really is a fantastic way to help you make the best informed decision for yourself so that you can get the best insurance coverage. This is a wonderful consumer tool. We also have things like consumer reports available, which allows you to look up the entire consumer reports database. That includes anything you would be finding in the magazines. You will find it on the consumer reports database. But all of these together can really save you quite a bit of money. It can let you go through and make sure that you are picking the right product for yourself and make sure that you are able to spend your money wisely, be able to utilize what you want for the things that you want. So I really do recommend trying out any of these databases. I recommend going through and trying some of the ones we didn't talk about today. We have things like Udemy, which actually offers video tutorials that you can learn a bunch of new skills on. You can learn things like computer programming. You can learn things like finding out how to use Microsoft Office products better. It's a fantastic, fantastic way to go through at your own pace and learn a new skill. We also have access to things like regional business news. If you're somebody that really likes Crane's Chicago Business, Regional Business News actually has all of the full text of Crane's Chicago Business available in it. We have some other things like Novelist. Novelist, if you are a reader, is essential. What it does is it lets you go in and search for books that you might be interested in by topic. You can also look up your favorite writers or your favorite titles, and you can find read-alikes. That's going to be books written in a similar style with a similar theme. It's a really wonderful way to go in and find your next book. I use it all the time. I am not as well read as somebody like our wonderful Sarah who works here, who reads everything. So if I'm trying to help somebody look for something, I will frequently go to Novelist and find out what they enjoy and help them find a new book that way. If you are into investing, we do also have things like Morningstar, where you'd be able to go through and check on things like different stock prices, mutual funds, and it will include analyst reports. All right, the last one I want to tell you about, since we're on stocks, is going to be Value Line. Now, some of you may have heard of Value Line before. Value Line is a stock information publication. It originated as a paper publication. They send us these little inserts that we change all the time to update information, but we also subscribe to the online version. Value Line lets us see how specific stocks are reporting. It also breaks down and tells you why they're going to be performing that way and things that you might want to keep an eye on within specific industries. So on Value Line, you can see they have a stock market report for today. We go in and look at it. It's going to give us a breakdown of what is affecting the stock market today, why things might be happening, what different reports are expected to come out, and we can look through and it's going to give us all of that information about what is affecting the markets today. Going back, we can actually go in and find ideas for investment. There's investment education information. We can go in and see the actual option survey for Value Line. I actually really like, I'm going to go into browse research. I like being able to come in and say, I want to see the recent timeliness rank updates. That's going to be stocks that are timely, what's going on right now with them. When I click on that, it gives me a list of stocks. And if I'm interested in any of these, like let's say I wanted to look at Ally Financial, I could click the link here and it's going to give me a detailed report on what's going on with Ally. I can also scoot all the way over here and I can get a PDF of what their current stock report is. So if I wanted to be able to see what the current stock report issued by Value Line is, it's going to show me performance. It's going to show me historical performance, which can be a lot harder to find. And it's going to show me trends within the industry. So Value Line is a super, super great way to kind of start your own investment profile to keep track of the stocks that you already have. You can use that along with our Morningstar subscription to be able to follow your mutual funds and stocks. This includes both large cap stocks and small and mid cap stocks in Value Line. So you're able to search for some of those smaller companies that it might be harder to get some intel on. All righty, so I think that's about all we're going to talk about today. I do want to suggest to you that you go ahead and take a look at some of these other databases. You will enjoy using them. All of them have something fantastic to offer you. We even have links to things like Glencoe News, so you can go back and read about our town and be able to see all the things that have happened since 1995. But I want to make sure that you feel comfortable that you don't have to know all of these databases by heart. You don't have to be able to work all of them from day one. You can always come here to the library and ask us for help. That's why we're here. All of our librarians are here to assist you to learn how to use these, to learn how to use them most effectively for you, and to help you get to the right database. That's actually something that librarians have been doing for a while, is that we know which database is going to have which information. So don't ever feel like you can't come and ask us. You can email us, you can call us, or you can stop by. But try as many of these out as you can. I guarantee you, you're going to enjoy using them.
Thank you so much, Rachel. It's astounding what's out there. We had one question, and it was that about A to Z, does it include nonprofits? Do you have the
Yes,
answer?
it does include nonprofits.
Okay, cool.
There's quite a few nonprofit listings included in there.
All right. Thank you very much. Rachel will be back next month talking about streaming services. So you can learn about all of her wisdom on that. Let me just check the date, April 21st, and that'll be at 7 p.m. also on Zoom, and also will be recorded. So thanks so much, Rachel. See you next time.
Thank you. Everybody have a great day.